Today I'm talking about what does it mean for Scoob going straight to VOD, and are theaters doomed? Let's talk about it. Okay guys, so I'm gonna be talking about what does it mean for Scoob to go straight to VOD, what does it mean for theaters and the survivability of the movie experience. But before we get to that, make sure to hit the like button. It makes the YouTube algorithm very happy, and the Tone Show. So before I talk about Scoob going to VOD, it's very important you guys understand the ramifications of the whole Trolls World Tour, Universal and AMC situation. So I'm gonna hit the bullet points of it, the highlights, so you understand what's happening. So very basically, movies that are cinematic movies from movie studios usually have to have a 30-day window inside of theaters. That's an agreement that movie theaters made with movie studios, and that's what they basically abide by. So what made The Invisible Man and also The Hunt, which were both theatrical releases, which were in theaters and ended up being on VOD, video on demand at home, was the COVID-19 pandemic. So the COVID-19 pandemic forced movie theaters to close, and those movies had to basically cut their theatrical release and end up on VOD at home. So what Universal did was very different, because with Trolls World Tour, they skipped the theatrical window altogether and went straight to VOD. And what it found was that it was people were massed together at home, they had no entertainment, their kids were running them mad. Belly, shut up! And the fact that this movie was at home and available for the first time and nobody's seen it, they jumped on it. So it made like over $100 million in its first week. So it basically made almost as much as the whole release of the first Trolls movie. So Universal was like, I love this. You know what? Moving forward, they released a statement saying they were going to release movies simultaneously in theaters once the whole COVID-19 pandemic is under control. And certain movies they were going to actually select to put on VOD. This made AMC Theaters very angry, because basically Universal was breaking the agreement that studios have with theaters for a 90-day theatrical window. So that's why Universal and AMC got into it. Then NATO, which is like the International Theater Association, also jumped into it and said, Universal, you're in the wrong. AMC went straight up and said, you know what, Universal, you can't show your movies in my theaters. That's it. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. So AMC got really upset about this situation. So what makes Scoob different than the whole AMC situation with Universal is that the Warner people actually put this statement very well together, and they never mentioned the fact that they were not going to come back to theaters. So here's the statement. It says, we know the fans are eager to see Scoob, and we're delighted we can deliver this feel-good movie for families to enjoy while they're home together. While we're all eager to be able to once again show our films in theaters, that part's very important, we're navigating a new, unprecedented times which call for creative thinking and adaptability in how we distribute our content. That's the end quote. And that was basically the CEO and Warner Brothers chair, Anna Sarnoff, right? So that's her statement. That statement is very different than the statement that basically Universal put out saying, you know what? Trolls World Tour did so damn good, we're actually going to release some of our movies in theaters, and which movies we think strategically make more sense for VOD, we're going to do that. And that's what pissed off theaters. That's what pissed off AMC and NATO, and that's what made everybody all upset, because the status quo is that movies go straight to theaters. Now, do I think that Scoob is going to break the status quo? I don't, because you have another situation again where you have people at home with kids. This is a very family-friendly movie, just like Trolls World Tour. So I think Warner Brothers already saw the risk that Universal took with Trolls World Tour, and they're releasing Scoob to a very similar audience, which is people stuck at home with kids. And it's $24.99 to purchase and $19.99 to rent. So at that point, what makes sense, right? It makes sense to buy the movie at $24.99 than to rent it at $19.99. That's why when The Hunt and The Invisible Man came out for $19.99 rental, people were excited. It's the first time that theatrical movies were released this quickly on VOD, video on demand. So people jumped and rented it. But honestly, if you can purchase for a few more bucks, why not purchase? I don't see why you just rent it for $19.99 and then buy it for $24.99 if they're both available at the same time. So I think they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot there. Do I think that movie theaters are going to shrivel up and die? Do I think this is the end of the movie theater experience? Obviously not. These are very selected movies, right? We're talking about Scoob and Trolls World Tour. They're both family-friendly animated movies, very similar market. People are home trapped. Now, for example, Tenet, which is the new Christopher Nolan movie, which is expected to hit theaters soon, but obviously the pandemic occurred. That I would be very curious to see if they let it go straight to VOD, because it would definitely show if there's a market for movies that are not family friendly in nature, right? We're not talking about something that's specifically for kids. If Christopher Nolan's Tenet actually goes straight to VOD, I'd be very surprised. And I'd also like to see what the numbers are like, because this could open up a brand new existence as far as like the movie watching audience, because you would be able to enjoy movies that you would in the theaters right at home, even for a premium price, $19.99 or $24.99. But that said, I do believe theaters need to innovate more than just basically showing you a bigger screen or giving you 3D glasses. They need to innovate even further. And the price of going to see a movie versus the price of VOD, it's not even a competition. So you're not going there because of price. You're definitely going to the movie theater because you want to entertain the experience. And it's a dating behavior, right? People are so used to going on dates to movie theaters. Netflix and chill is a very different experience than going to a movie theater, right? So that's how Scoob is very different than Trolls World Tour, and it's coming out May 15th. They didn't even move the date, so Scoob is coming out the same day that was supposed to be in theaters, which is tomorrow, May 15th. I'm recording this Thursday, May 14th. So they just kept the same date and released it at home instead of in theaters. So I'm very eager to see what's going to happen. Put it in the comments. Let me know, what do you think is going to happen with this movie once it hits VOD? Do you think the Scoob is going to be as successful? Did you pay that price? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens tomorrow with Scoob. Is it going to break some records? Are we going to see a bit of a shift? But definitely not a status quo breaker. I don't think this is what it is. So I don't think movie theaters should be scared about this one. I think it's basically just Warner Brothers trying to make the best they could out of a situation and make some money. Anyway, guys, this is the Tone Show, as always. Tone Show, woo.